back to Saxthorpe Farms and carrying on with our winter fieldwork. February never really feels that wintry to me, but I guess it's a bit early to call it spring. And today we have a bunch of mulching and liming to get done to get the fields ready for planting in, I think most of it's going to be April. Actually, I've got a sticky note on my laptop which will tell me. So if I have a quick look, yeah, April and May mostly. So the wheat's already in and the canola is already in. So everything else is April for planting. So by the end of the video, not to really give you any massive spoilers, but we're going to have one field left to mulch, and probably I should run the cultivator or disc. I'm not sure what one we have on here over field 19 that we ploughed last time. So the sound might be a little bit disjointed as well. We'll carry on with the plans in a moment. So Mrs. D has COVID and she's upstairs in bed asleep, and that means I'm looking after the dogs pretty much all the time at the moment. There's a teenager house sitting for the in-laws, so you might hear some different background noise, and I just had to pause the recording because one of the greyhounds was doing what we refer to as glopping, and it's not attractive and it's not a nice sound. So yeah, having to work around that at the moment, but hey, we do continue. So yeah, we had a family meal on Boxing Day. It's my sister's birthday. It was actually her 50th birthday on Boxing Day, so we went out for a family meal, and some of my family now have COVID, so yay, including Mrs. D. So she's in bed feeling pretty awful. So yeah, that's why I'm downstairs doing this stuff. So it might sound a bit different. There might be some more background noise because I am literally surrounded by 4 dogs and I can't always catch things before they start making noise. So yeah, so by the end of the video we'll have most of the fields mulched and lined, and I think field 19 could do with having the disc running over it before we plant because it's been ploughed, and field 20 will need mulching still. So the other thing we need to do is look at getting our new seeder. So I did have a browse in the store, and it's about 180 grand for the big horse seeder that I want. So that's the 12-meter one. That's going to make seeding so much easier. Hopefully it will remove the problem we've been having where the seeder has been filling up some sort of ghost compartment, and yeah, generally hopefully it will make things better. So my plan is to sell the existing ones. I'm not sure what they are worth. I do actually have the save on here, so I could have a quick look while I'm chatting to you guys. And yeah, the plan is to sell that off. We're probably going to need to take a loan because we won't have anywhere near enough cash to buy it, because I also want to buy a grass field. But we brought the new planter, so we've got the planter, so we can sell the planter bit as well. And I'm just looking, so the base unit is 46 grand. So the one of the seeder units is 15, so let's call that 60. And the other one is 15, so 75. So we're going to need about just over 100 grand to upgrade the seeder. We do have that in the bank, but we need to buy a grass field, so we're going to need to borrow some money. And one of the things that I've been pondering since I did this is I really badly set up VCA GPS is I'm thinking, so we've been doing fairly small scale on the beef. You know, I think we're up to 24, which is making us about 24 grand a month. I'm thinking of doing, and I might just do it as a one-off or like for a couple of months, getting a load in, because if we did a load in Feb and a load in March, we might be able to make enough that we have to borrow a lot less. So that's kind of my thinking. And it's going to speed things up because our goal on here is to buy the whole map, and we are so far away from that I think we do need to maybe start pushing that a bit more, at least until we run out of food. And the nice thing about the way I'm doing the beef on here is that if we run out of food, we just stop buying them. And we're back. So yeah, what I'm thinking is that I can use cash we've got now to buy a whole load more cows. That is going to be doing a lot of runs to the store with our rather small trailer, but this is a temporary thing, so I'm not sure yet that it's worth buying a bigger one. I have installed some bigger animal trailers, but I might just kind of sink the time in to run backwards and forwards to the store to get a lot more of them. And yeah, we will go from there to using the feed that we've got now. If we run out of feed, we can stop this experiment. It's not a problem because we're just fattening these animals. It's fine. We can just make sure that we keep enough back to keep the few dairy cows that we've got going, because once they get to producing milk, that will give us more cash as well. And that might minimize the amount of loan we need to take out. And then in July, we've got all the soybeans we can sell, so that will give us another boost in cash to buy more land. And I'm talking about doing this temporarily. I'm kind of thinking that if we've got the feed, we do it as much as I can, because we still need to buy the whole map. So this is a buy the map challenge thing. And if I've just said that, I'm sorry. I have had to stop the recording a couple of times because the dogs all started moving around, because why wouldn't you? Because I'm talking. And there was a lot of noise as they jumped about and scratched and all the things that they do. So yeah, just checking the nitrogen, the pH, the line level. So I've set that tractor off on a worker. I'm going to jump in the 7230. We're going to give this a repair. So at the moment, I've got this repair indicator HUD thingy mod installed. Smart Farmer shared another mod on Discord that does something which I think is going to be better, and what that does is the implement that you have selected, the repair of that is shown in the normal HUD wear indicator, and so that means we don't have the extra display on the screen. But as you use on PC the G key to cycle through the tractor and the different implements you've got attached to the vehicle, the wear that it shows on the HUD, which is currently red because the weight it needs repairing, would represent whatever you had selected. So that means we don't have the extra display on the screen, so the screen will look a little bit cleaner and I'll get the information that I need. So yeah, probably going to install that, and I think I want to install that on all of the saves that I'm playing. I'm sure I had something like that either installed as a mod in FS19 or built into something else. So yeah, well, I'll try and remember to do that. And what I'm thinking is that, and again, so this is my second time of recording this whole thing. So the first one didn't turn out very well due to background noise. Because I don't need to plant anything until April, I'll probably do that stuff with the cows mostly off camera, and skip ahead to March, because those little bits of field work that I've still got to do to be ready to plant, I might just run on course play as we're doing the other stuff. So we've got the tractors that we can do that, so I think that'll be okay. It would be good to get all of the planting done in April, and almost well, actually, because we've got the big planter, if we get the 12-meter seeder, we'll have bigger implements to do everything, so that will work. And when I get around to planting, I am going to weed before germination so that behaves. I know I think some of you didn't find that particularly realistic, and I guess it's just a function of, in how I've got the game running, and it could be more or less for you, depending on how many days per month that you have. A day is a week, 10 days in fact. And if you leave it a little while, depending on how things work, you might have small growth of weeds before they're visible. And so, yeah, anyway, that's what I'm doing because the experiment didn't work and I don't want to have to buy another expensive implement to be able to weed. So, call it a weakness of the game engine. Yeah. So I've still not decided if I'm going to spray the weeds in the wheat field or not, or just take the hit. I'm not sure. We'll see. I'll decide when I get closer. The other thing that I'm not sure on is, which has just cropped into my head, is whether I'm going to sell the 2 Deutz combines and try and pick up another big combine. That might be a good idea to speed things up. So we'll see, because with I'm running the chaff missions, I guess it's called, the foraging contracts, and so we will be getting some of those, so we might get less harvesting contracts. So I'm going to need to be careful how many of those I take, because we have a very small forage harvester, so I don't want to get bogged down with those. The other thing is, what you've seen so far was all recorded with the wheel and joystick and stuff, and I wanted to have a play with doing some feeding with all of that. So and I guess the first thing that's relevant is I've got the shifter as well, and I've got this set up with manual gears, and so I'm having to remember to shift. And the way, so it's a 6-speed shifter with reverse. What I've done with it, because gears in FS don't really work like that, is hopefully you're familiar with the pattern of a 6-speed manual shifter. Maybe not all of you are. So 3 and 4 are up and down in the gears, and then 1 and 2 shift ranges. So and that seemed to work okay. I might swap it around, because I feel like shifting range might be something I do more often. Still kind of experimenting with all the setup of the wheel and stuff, but yeah, I just wanted to have a play with everything while I was sat upstairs. With the issues with Mrs. D being ill, I can't actually spend that much time sat upstairs gaming at the moment, so most of it is still on the laptop. But yeah, it's kind of weird having gone from, exclusively keyboard and mouse to when I'm playing on the desktop, which is what the first part of this video was. I had, and for this anyway, I had the wheel, the shifter, the joystick, and a macro keyboard set up to run a whole load of the VCA and some base game controls, and so it's kind of weird. It's very different for me. Most of my FS gaming is sat watching TV, playing on my laptop, and kind of relaxing like you guys do, and then I take the footage that I record doing that and turn it into a video. Whereas this was much more, concentrating on the gameplay. So it was cool. I did find that so the first time I really used an angle was the Diddley Squat video, and I found after, I think we played for like an hour and a half with all the stuff we were doing before, maybe, I was my neck, I have an old neck injury. My neck was very tired. So yeah, that's going to be something I'll have to balance, and it was something that I was a little bit worried about. So yeah, and then I've got the mini side panel as well, and that I got that finished. It was so simple to finish. I wish I'd done it before. It's two wires had come off the switches with the connectors that I'd used, so got that fixed the other day, and actually I've set that up to work with the laptop, because I don't think I need it upstairs, and because that's basically a PlayStation 3 controller, it's got the 2 thumbsticks and a bunch of buttons, and so far I've set it up to do camera control, because thumbsticks are really nice for that. You get the kind of analog camera control and loader work, so it's been good. So yeah, I'll be having a play with that in the next week or so. I'm going to make a video on that. I've got, basically for the build, I've got a whole load of pictures that I took as I went through. So I'm planning to talk through how I built it. It's not going to be, a step-by-step guide. It's going to be kind of me talking through what I did, and I'll show you how it works in game. And yeah. I'm slightly curious. A couple of things, I guess. If you know someone that's got a 3D printer, that would be so much easier because they could 3D print the box. I think it would be better 3D printed anyway. And the other thing is whether you could do the same with a PS5 controller and have a side panel on PS5. Because I don't think the side panel works on PlayStation 5 because I think they shut down the USB ports on it. Not sure. I think I remember Mr. CDP saying that. So yeah, that might be interesting. I don't have a PS5, so it's not really a problem for me, and it's not something I can test. But hey. So yeah, made a bunch of TMR. The mix that I use on here is somewhere around 1,500 litres of sorghum, which we brought in from the farm supply pack. Now about half a bale of grass silage, which is about 3,000 litres, and then I fill the rest up with maize silage, and because we have a lot of maize silage, so yeah, that's kind of how things are working at the moment, and just going to keep going with that. The feed mix will probably evolve as the amount of different feeds that we have changes through the year. Particularly with running the forage missions, chaff missions. My plan when I do those is the excess will be going into either the fermenting silos we have at the main farm, or you can see in front of us we've got a couple of silage clamps, so that's going to give us basically some free food is my view. So, and I might do some slightly tricky sneaky things with that, we'll see. We've been chatting about those contracts a bit on Cartex Discord, we were last week, and with Maize Plus you obviously get green mowing, and if you add in Loki's Tip Anywhere mod, you could green mow those fields. Now the issue is for delivering for the contracts you end up with the wrong product, but what you could do is you could go in and edit the mission field type, but that's a bit more work. But what you could do without doing that is you could forage harvest enough to complete what's required for the contract, and then whatever's left in the field you could green mow, and you'd get a lot higher yield. Because this is if you're playing with Maize Plus, because if you're playing with Maize Plus, foraging things like wheat, barley and oats with a forage harvester gives you a much lower yield than green mowing them. So, and that's all taken account of in the forage contracts. They use the conversion factors for if you're using a forage harvester. So yeah, you could get a little bit more doing that. And obviously I've got bigger mows than a forage harvester, so it would make it quicker as well. So we might play some sneaky games with that to maximize what we get off of the field. I think that'd be kind of interesting. The other thing I haven't done yet is update the crop plan, and I think I might not this year, although we've picked up the ridger. I'm not sure if I'm going to plant any this year. I might wait till next year. I think, and this is because something I've seen on Glenlarvan, updating the crop rotation mod might have reset all the crop history, so we could plant whatever we want in the field. So I could take one of them and plant some root crops. Just loading up my my post-it note again. Yeah, I mean, maybe we could split the cornfield or the soybean field and do some root crops. What I plan to do is something that Rural Pilot, one of the patrons, suggested, and that is to do the root crop in the body of the field, and then the headlands plant something else like corn or soybeans, because that lets you can plant the root crop, plant the grain, harvest the grain, harvest the root crop. So yeah, and it gets around the fact that the headland, the textures for the root crops only have 90-degree angles, and so look awful on headlands. Yeah. And I say thank you to the patrons and the YouTube channel members at this point. Really appreciate you guys all supporting the channel. It really helps. So yeah, it lets me play with different things like steering wheels and stuff. I wouldn't have brought that without patrons and YouTube channel members. So yeah. We are hopefully dealing with the last of the snow on here as we finish up field 5. So we've just got field 20 to mulch. Everything's limed now, so yeah, we're in a pretty good state for planting in April. Yeah, and I say I've had a lot of hassle with snow on Saxthorpe and Glenlathen through the winter. I don't know if that's a base game problem or something with a mod that I have installed, but what I'm finding is the snow layer, it behaves just fine initially. Hopefully you can't hear my dog snoring in the background. When it falls, it respects the indoor areas, and then the snow layer updates randomly and it just blankets the whole map. I need to do some testing on probably a base game map without any mods installed and just see what happens. Anyway, that's us pretty much done. So thanks for watching. Hope you have enjoyed the video. If you did, click the like button. Any comments, questions or suggestions, stick them below and I will see you next time.